stand up. Right now if you can. In 30 seconds, you're going to learn something about your body that most doctors never mention until it's too late. Physical therapists use this exact test in clinics to predict who is likely to fall in the next 12 months, and the accuracy is startling. You don't need equipment. You don't need an appointment. You need a chair, a timer, and 90 seconds of honesty. By the end of this video, you'll have a real number. A score physical therapists actually use in clinical assessments to flag people who need extra support. You'll also know exactly where that number should be for your age. And you'll walk away with 3 exercises built specifically to raise it. Starting today, stay with me, because what this test reveals surprises almost everyone who tries it, including people who consider themselves healthy. Here's something most people over 60 don't realize. Muscle loss doesn't announce itself with pain or a warning sign. It creeps in quietly, starting as early as your 30s, then accelerating sharply after 65. Researchers call this process sarcopenia, and it's far more common than most people assume. By the time you notice it in daily life, struggling with stairs or a low couch, you may have already lost 20 to 40% of your leg strength. That number should alarm you. It certainly alarmed the researchers who first measured it. Your legs are the single biggest predictor of fall risk, more than your eyesight, more than your inner ear, more than the loose rug in your hallway. Weak hip and thigh muscles change how quickly you can catch yourself when you stumble on uneven pavement or a curb. A strong young body can recover from a stumble in under a second, almost without thinking. A weakened one simply cannot generate that speed, no matter how much willpower is behind it. This is why the same small trip that used to mean nothing can now mean a broken hip and months of recovery. But here's the part almost nobody tells you at the doctor's office. This decline is measurable, and more importantly, it is reversible at almost any age. Studies on adults well into their 80s show real strength gains within weeks of targeted training. There's also a myth worth clearing up right here. This isn't the same as feeling tired after a long walk, and it isn't simply a matter of getting older. 2 people can be the exact same age, eat similar diets, and still have wildly different leg strength, purely based on whether they've kept those specific muscles under regular load. That's genuinely good news, because it means this is trainable, not fixed. The test you're about to take in a moment gives you a real number, not a vague guess or a feeling. And that single number changes everything about how you should be training from here forward. This is the sit-to-stand test, used in physical therapy clinics across the country to assess lower body strength and fall risk in one simple movement. Find a sturdy, armless chair, no wheels, no soft cushions that sink under your weight. Sit in the middle of the seat with your feet flat on the floor, roughly hip-width apart. Cross your arms over your chest. No pushing off with your hands. No swinging momentum from your arms to cheat the movement. When you're ready, set a timer for exactly 30 seconds. Stand up completely, straightening your knees and hips, then sit back down with control, as many times as you safely can. Each full stand-to-sit cycle counts as 1 repetition. If at any point you feel unsteady or lightheaded, stop immediately and hold on to something sturdy nearby. This isn't about speed at the cost of safety. It's about collecting honest, useful data on where you stand today. Go ahead and pause the video here if you need a moment to grab a chair and try it right now, in real time. Most people are genuinely surprised by how their number compares to what they expected walking in. Your score is coming next, and for many people watching, it changes how they think about their own body. Now let's score it, because a raw number without context is essentially meaningless on its own. For women aged 60 to 64, 12 to 17 stands in 30 seconds is considered a healthy average range. For men in that same age bracket, the average sits a little higher, between 14 and 19 stands. As you move into your 70s and 80s, those numbers naturally drop, and that's expected, not automatically a red flag on its own. What matters far more than the exact benchmark is a score under 8, at any age past 60. That specific threshold is associated in physical therapy research with a significantly elevated risk of falling within the following year. Think about someone like Diane, 68 years old, who felt perfectly fine walking around her neighborhood every morning. She tried this exact test after seeing a version of it online and managed only 6 stands before her legs started shaking. That number didn't mean she was frail or failing. It meant her body had been quietly compensating for weakness she couldn't feel yet in everyday movement. Compare that to Robert, 72, a former runner who assumed his younger fitness had carried him into retirement untouched. He hit 15 stands on his first try, well above average for his age. And it wasn't luck. It was years of staying active in ways that happened to load his legs. The gap between Diane and Robert isn't really about age at all. It's almost entirely about whether those specific muscles have been asked to work recently. If you landed somewhere similar to Diane, don't panic, and don't feel embarrassed either. You are far from alone in this. This test exists precisely so you can catch hidden weakness before it becomes an injury, a fall, or worse. Think of it like a smoke detector mounted in your legs instead of your ceiling. It doesn't cause the fire in the first place. It simply gives you time to act before one ever starts. And acting starts with 3 specific movements, chosen deliberately because they directly train the exact muscles this test measures. The first movement is the assisted sit-to-stand, using the very same chair from your test a moment ago. Sit down, then rise using a countertop or sturdy table edge for light support, focusing on slow control rather than speed. Do 8 to 10 repetitions, twice daily, and gradually reduce how much you lean on your hands as your strength genuinely returns. A common mistake here is rushing the movement. Slower reps build far more usable strength than fast, sloppy ones. The second movement is the wall sit, which builds the isometric endurance your thighs need for those crucial catch-yourself moments on uneven ground. Lean your back flat against a wall, slide down until your knees form a comfortable, shallow bend, and hold that position for 10 to 15 seconds. Build up gradually here. This exercise works surprisingly fast, and overdoing it in week 1 leads to unnecessary soreness that discourages people from continuing. The third movement is the standing hip abduction, which strengthens the small stabilizer muscles that most home workout routines completely ignore. Hold onto a chair back for balance. Lift one leg straight out to the side with slow control, then lower it just as slowly. 10 repetitions per side is genuinely plenty to start seeing results within a couple of weeks. These 3 movements together target the exact muscle groups the chair test measures, which means consistent practice should show up directly in your very next score. Do them 3 to 4 times a week, resting a day between sessions to let the muscle actually adapt and strengthen. Most people who stay consistent notice their legs feeling steadier on stairs within the first 10 days, well before the 2-week retest even arrives. One more thing worth mentioning. None of these 3 movements require a gym membership, a resistance band, or a single piece of equipment beyond a chair and a wall you already own. That's intentional. Fall prevention research consistently shows that the exercises people actually stick with are the ones that fit quietly into an existing routine, not the ones requiring a special trip somewhere. Do the sit-to-stand while your coffee brews. Do the wall sit during a commercial break. Do the hip abduction while you're on a phone call. Consistency beats intensity every single time when it comes to rebuilding strength that protects you. Here's the part that genuinely determines whether any of this actually works for you long term. Testing once and then doing nothing changes absolutely nothing. The real value lives entirely in the retest. Mark your calendar for exactly 2 weeks from today and redo this same 30-second test using the same chair and the same method. Most people who commit consistently to these 3 movements see a measurable, countable improvement within that short window. Strength adapts faster than most people expect, even well into their 70s and 80s, according to the research. What you're actually building here isn't just a slightly better number on a chart. You're rebuilding the split-second protective reaction that keeps a stumble from becoming a fall, and a fall from becoming a hospital visit or worse. That kind of protection is worth 90 seconds of testing and 3 simple exercises, done 3 times a week, without exception. Skipping this step is the single biggest reason people watch videos like this and never actually change their fall risk. It's also worth being honest about the timeline. You won't see a dramatic transformation overnight, and anyone promising that isn't being straight with you. What you will see, if you stay consistent, is a small but real shift in how confident you feel walking downstairs or stepping off a curb without holding a railing. That confidence isn't just psychological. It reflects an actual, measurable change in how fast your muscles fire when you need them most. Physical therapists see this pattern constantly in clinical settings. Patients who retest after 2 weeks of targeted work almost always improve, even when they were convinced beforehand that nothing would change at their age. If your number surprised you today, type it in the comments below. You'll quickly see you're far from alone in this. Subscribe for the next video, where we'll walk through a complete at-home balance assessment using nothing but your kitchen counter and 2 minutes of your time. Share this video with a parent, a neighbor, or anyone whose safety and independence genuinely matters to you. Your legs told you the truth today, whether that truth was reassuring or a little unsettling. Either way, that truth is useful information, not a verdict on your future. 2 weeks from now, you'll either have a higher number or a clear reason to adjust and keep going. Both outcomes move you forward. Now you know exactly what to do with it, starting with your very next sit to stand.